Good afternoon, everybody. 안녕하세요. Thanks for having me here today. My name is Cindy. I am actually from Enterprise Singapore. I will give a short presentation of who we are, what do we do, and most importantly, to also share about the startup ecosystem to our Korean friends and audience, and also foreign startups here. So for those of you, we have not had a chance to host you in Singapore. So this is geographically where we are, situated in the heart of Southeast Asia. So we are a key innovation hub, and innovation is one of our cornerstone when it comes to economic development. So although we are small, 6 million population, pro-enterprise and pro-business environment is a very key mandate for us. We want to make it easier, not only for Singapore startups to actually do well in Singapore, but also foreign businesses looking to expand and actually do well in Singapore. More importantly, we have a strong government mandate together with our private sector players when it comes to pushing for innovation and startups development in Singapore. So this is also a key reason why after several years, together with public and private partnership now, we are home to 4,500 tech startups in Singapore. And these are some of the names you may find familiar. We cover across 30 industry and domain sectors within that 4,500 tech startups. But we are not stopping here. Just like many other startup ecosystem around the world, you may be interested to know we are a small country, but we are actually home to more than 40,000 researchers, scientists, and engineers, and also a deep bedrock of research and innovation ecosystem capabilities that continues to work with our startups, not only the Singapore ones, but also foreign ones who are in Singapore. The next area that we actually focus a lot on is actually on capital. We understand a good idea can only flourish because there are financial resources behind it. So we are today home to more than 500 venture capitalists, not only Singapore venture capitalists, but also foreign venture capitalists. There are also foundations set up in Singapore as well. Last but not least would be corporate demand drivers. I think all startups know, all you guys want, priority for access in the market is POC, POV. All startups want to work with corporates and MNCs. So today, Singapore is home to more than 7,000 global MNCs. Most of them have R&D commitment, R&D priorities in Singapore, and they are open to working with startups in Singapore as well, which I will touch on more later. So just to give a snapshot when it comes to the funding environment in Asia. So today in Southeast Asia itself, about 2/3 of the Southeast Asia startup funding come from Singapore. And this is a growth that we have experienced over the last few years. More importantly, you may be familiar with the term deep tech. Deep tech stands for startups with strong IP, scientific base. We are also seeing a very strong growth in interest for deep tech startups and investment in Singapore as well. Some of the sectors that have been doing well includes health, biomed and healthcare, green areas, climate technologies. Basically, they are sectors that have huge problem statements to solve and also very good growth global potential. But we know the startup need a lot of help. They cannot do it alone. So in terms of the frontier and emerging areas, we are also investing in new areas such as quantum, advanced materials, just to continue to give that same platform of help for startups who are also advancing in those areas where they definitely can benefit from a larger base of foundation research capabilities that can be made available to them. So I want to talk about, in the rest of the deck, some very specific areas that will actually be helpful for startups that are thinking of coming to Singapore and setting base in Singapore. And they will cover what I call the critical ingredients for success for startup development and growth. So first and foremost, it's about helping our companies with global connections. We understand that Singapore is not going to be an end market for foreign startup coming to Singapore. Even so, for our Singapore startup as well, we like to say Singapore startups are born global. They need to have global ambitions. So we actually have startup dedicated market acceleration program. It's called GIA. It stands for Global Innovation Alliance. Today, from Singapore, you can access to 24 nodes where we have acceleration partners identified in those markets. They go from as far as US to Singapore and also our regional market, which I need not explain the strong growth potential in Southeast Asia as well. So these in-market acceleration partners can have networks and connections to corporates, incorporation partners, and the different test bidding and co-pilot opportunities in the market. But going to the market is only one part of the story. Startups also need to continue to co-innovate, do their R&D and all that. So we also have the co-innovation program where we work with more than 40 markets from Singapore that we support startups with co-innovation R&D projects from Singapore as well. We don't believe Singapore has all the solutions for all the startups, so the co-innovation alliance for us is a very key value add that we bring to our startups. So at the same time, we know there is no boundary for tech innovation and technology scouting. We continue to put different intermediaries such as IPI, which is one of our tech scouting intermediary that we have, and also centers of innovation, because we don't think every sector have the same solution. Every sector actually has different growth momentum and depth of technology development. So we are also paying attention to some of these critical areas where innovation can take different form, and we have enablers to help our startups continue to capture opportunities and R&D areas in those sectors as well. Second, we want to be a platform where we can also promote co-innovation. Earlier, I talked about we have 7,000 MNCs. We are actually working with many of them to be able to open up pilot opportunities within the corporate itself. We have worked on this for the last 6 to 7 years. It is quite difficult to get corporates to be very open with what their problem statements are. But over the last 6 to 7 years, we have worked with at least more than 600 MNCs who have put forth their problem statements openly, and they scout through startup solutions from us. I quite dare say our startups, not only Singapore ones, but globally, have quite a good chance at solving. Almost 2/3 of these problem statements are solved by startups, both Singapore and foreign startups that are based in Singapore or even all around the world. So even you have not had expansion plans in Singapore yet, you can check out Open Innovation Network. The problem statements from the corporates that we work with are actually there. The third area that we have is human capital. The talent war is real in Singapore and everywhere else. So for us, we focus on helping to address some of these human capital gaps in Singapore in different areas. First and foremost, we want to make it easier for founders to come into Singapore. We have a startup-centric work visa called EntrePass, where we are looking for startup with a good go-to-market strategy, good technology. They have a game plan for Southeast Asia. We make it easier for them to come. But when they are here, they have different R&D plans. So we also look at what do they need when they are eventually here, and how maybe some of the talent gaps needs to be plugged from talent that are coming from overseas to enable their growth plan from Singapore. So Tech at SG in the middle column and the different work visa will be how we enable some of these talents to come together in Singapore to support their growth. The third area for us is really on the R&D front, where we look at different scientists and researchers and talents. Most of them will come from our research institute and also universities to continue to support specific R&D areas, talent gaps that our startups will have. The fourth area is financing. I don't have to explain why is it important. So we, like many stories that you see, we also co-fund with venture capitalists into startups they are in Singapore. We understand that there is this co-partnership that is actually quite meaningful for our startups to not only have funding from our private sector investors, but also enables and help from local government agencies to be able to help them find the faster pathway to penetrate different markets. But besides that, we also do deal-making platforms. It's called Deal Friday. It happens more than just on Friday, but we work with different parties to do demo days. We bring together different VCs, venture builders, family offices to come together to introduce the style of startups that are available in Singapore, available in our platform, to be able to extend investment opportunities that is suitable for our investors in Singapore. So this is it's quite lengthy slides, but the takeaway is we do one-to-one co-matching with venture capitalists. So if you are looking for fundraising in Singapore, in Southeast Asia, then do consider Singapore as a go-to destination for fundraising. The fifth area is infrastructure, and we look at infrastructures in two areas. Number one, a physical infrastructure. Where do you want to be when you are surrounded by VCs, incubators, accelerator, where you would want to find actually a collaborator that is just within your vicinity. So we have what we call a launch pad. There in Singapore. We have two of them now in Singapore, where most of our startups, if they do want to set up shop in Singapore or find a co-working space, they do hang out in those areas where it's just easier for them to quickly have a sense of what Singapore can offer and to help them to navigate how to get around the Singapore ecosystem. But we know we won't be able to have everybody in Singapore right away. So we actually have an online version, which is a marketplace where you can have a quick sense of the type of startups, accelerators, incubators, venture capitalists that are in Singapore that you can actually get connected with to be able to quickly, from the comfort of your domestic market first, be able to have a good sense of what's available for you before you do make that trip to Singapore. Last but not least, just like NextRise itself, we also have our own startup event. So we more than welcome all of you to attend Switch. It stands for the Singapore Week of Innovation and Technology. It happens to be on our 10th birthday this year. It's our 10th edition. And also we are celebrating Singapore's 60th birthday. Young nation, but our R&D journey has been more than 30 years in the making. So this is really our time to not only look at what Singapore has done on our own, but how Singapore has partnered our global partners from all over the world when it comes to pushing for R&D, startup ideas that is suited for the Asia market. So I'll just maybe pause here. Our trade pass is complimentary, so just buy your own ticket and book your hotels. But the show itself is free to attend because we want to make deal making, collaboration easy for startups. I will move on. And perhaps the most easiest way for startups to actually join us at Switch is actually through our marquee startup competition called Slingshot. This year will be our 9th edition. For Slingshot, we are looking for early stage startups in deep tech sectors. The domains that we are focusing on is at the bottom. We primarily focus on these domain areas because we know for a deep tech startup, it is hard to get started. It is hard to find your POC. It is hard to get VCs to invest in you because the gestation period is longer. We understand that. So which is why we have invested over 9 years in this platform where we scout all over the world for the best startups that are in these deep tech domains. And what we offer for them is an opportunity to pitch their ideas to leading and also global VCs, but more importantly, to come to Singapore and experience for themselves how an environment like ours can actually support their deep tech endeavors. So if you do make, our startups do make it to top 60, we have a fully sponsored immersion program that can expose them to the different partners, VCs and corporates in Singapore, fully paid immersion here, and then that is that prep that they can actually go through before they do their pitching during the show itself. We have been able to play host to many serious founders who have reached here. Trust me, they ask very difficult questions, but that is the only reason why our program can continue to be better, because we know what is it that they need in Singapore to be able to do well. I will pause here for those of you interested, good startup ideas, or you have startup founders who are interested in Singapore. Please feel free to, we have about 2 more weeks before we close application. Yeah, so please do sign up. Last but not least, I want to touch on the latest program that we have that is actually designed for foreign startups. Although we are a small country, we don't want to assume that getting around is actually easy for everybody, which is why our answer to foreign startup they are interested in Singapore is stage one. That is a agency effort to really put together programs and initiatives that will help startups, first and foremost, understand the opportunity in Southeast Asia through Singapore, and two, to help them in every step of the way when it comes to navigating around Singapore. So this is actually managed by our trade association. It's called ACE. It stands for Action Community for Entrepreneurship, as our appointed operator to set up these initiatives as well. I will touch on 3 areas that stage one primarily focuses on that will be relevant to you. First and foremost, setup and incorporation. We understand this is the first step many startups have to go through when they are here in Singapore. We pay particular attention to it to make sure that it's seamless for our startups. So from not knowing who we are and what we can offer, from understanding the ecosystem to providing options in terms of setting bank account, housing, and then to different incorporations and setup that is needed when you are here in Singapore. Let stage one be there for you for every step of the way to also navigate your tax and IPs and related regulation, especially if some of the solutions that you have actually need regulatory approval into Singapore as well. So this is step number 1. Step number 2 is for capability building for growth. Southeast Asia is a huge 600 million population opportunities, but navigating every different market is actually very different. So for us, we also want to equip our startups, the foreign startups as well, to be able to have a deeper understanding of the region and what the different opportunities are to get them ready for it. So we have this pillar just on capability building to get them assimilated, to get them to understand the market that is around them and what is it that they need to equip themselves first before they actually move on from Singapore, use Singapore as a base to actually penetrate those markets. So it is real when we say startups are born global. The moment you come in, we will ask you where are the markets and where are opportunities. And henceforth, the last part for us is internationalization. Where is it that you want to go? We will provide an enabler for you to go. And in terms of the different partners and all that, it could be missions, it could be an in-market connection, it could be a different intermediary that will help you in those markets. So our priority is to be able to have foreign startups set base in Singapore, but use us as a home base to grow regional presence from Singapore. So this is my last QR code for you to continue to find out more. I don't do justice to the work that my colleagues have been doing at stage one. So find out more from the website itself, but more importantly, reach out to them to continue to have that next conversation about interest in Singapore. And hopefully we will see you at Switch and also do sign up for the Slingshot competition. Thank you.